Pascal. You are now rocking with that dude Pascal. We be going wild, Haitian in the building, so original. Got the haters catching feelings. Get your hands up to the ceiling and keep them held high, cause St. Louis isn't ready. Forget about it, goodbye. Hold on, we just saying hi. Five somebody rise up weekdays. Catch us live, somebody. Let's go.
Good evening. Good afternoon and good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Pascal Show. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. Hope this show finds you in good spirits, because another day above the dirt is always a blessing. Let's not forget that. All right, we got some things we have got to get into. Guys. It has been a wild day. A lot of things have been percolating. A lot of things happened yesterday, too, that I talked about in some pop-up videos. Like I said, the news train just keeps moving. It's been absolutely insane as of late. And can't believe it, y'all. We're going to try to do as much catch up as we can. There's a lot of things going on so many different things, all at the same damn time. Some things have been going on that popped off earlier today, and we've got to talk about it, okay? Things from Trump with Diddy and Trump with Epstein and a slew of other things, okay? So we're going to get straight into this, all right? So do me a favor before we get into everything. Hit that like button down below, please, and thank you, okay? Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on these other platforms. If you are watching on these other platforms, like Facebook, X/Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, I'm on all those mugs, okay? Make sure you're hitting that follow button, all right? Follow those pages. Also, don't forget, subscribe here on my YouTube channel, please and thank you. Subscribe. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips, where there's clips being cut out of these shows and put onto that platform. Make sure you're subscribed over there. And also go to my new channel, Pascal Raw, and subscribe over there as well. All right? Subscribe. That would be greatly appreciated. Hit that notification bell on all platforms so you know whenever I go live, whenever I upload, and all that stuff, because it is random, okay? I will be honest, it is random, all right? So subscribe, hit that notification bell, hit that join button down below, become a member, check out my Patreon, and of course, check out pascalmerch.com, okay? We got some things to get into, so please go check out pascalmerch.com. We got some really great stuff over there. All right, guys. It's time to hop into this. We got a kind of a faster show today, okay? Yesterday was a lot of catch up. We're catching up on a bunch of different things that are going on. Today is kind of the same thing. A lot of things happened today that I didn't get a chance to really cover yet. Big things. Not like a whole lot of things, but a lot of big things have happened, okay? So we're going to kind of go in chronological order. In fact, before I forget, we got to look at this. We got to take a look at this. Now, I did a video about this the other day, and hold on. Whoa. Yes. There's some really crazy stuff that's going on today. I'm going to be completely real. All right. Let me get this sign down here really quick. Okay. So there's a lot to talk about, but let's see. Okay. So there are some things we have definitely got to look into or take a look at. Now, one of the things that's been very interesting that a lot of people have been reacting to, we talked about it in a pop-up video, but I am going to see if I can pull up. In fact, I'm just going to pull up this then instead, okay? And I've been thinking about this because some really interesting things have unearthed because Trump doesn't know how to keep his mouth shut, okay? So we definitely have to go into this one first. I know we're kind of going to go into Epstein and then take veer off from Epstein and come back into the Epstein conversation here in just a little bit. But nonetheless, I got to share this with you guys because this is something you can't not avoid. Okay. If you didn't see my video, which I highly recommend you do, late night yesterday, I did a video about Trump saying out loud that there were underage girls that were stolen from him. He says stolen from him by Epstein from his Mar-a-Lago spa. I'm not joking. It's not a lie. This is literally, go and check out the video, because there's a lot of people that are going to sit there and go, oh, that's cap. That's a lie. Pascal, you lying. Why you moving the goalposts as much as you can to make Trump look like a bad guy? I'm not the one who's putting these words in his mouth. He's making these. He is saying this out loud, y'all. Okay? He is saying this out loud. I'm not putting these words in his mouth. Trust and believe. I'd rather him be innocent as hell and keep running the country, and hopefully he makes the country win, and we all living off the fat of the land, getting rich as hell, rubbing our fat swollen bellies because we're just that overfed. That's what I want. I want our country to win all the time. And if that's him running the country, so be it. If that's somebody else running the country, so be it. As long as we are winning. You feel me? If the country's winning, we are winning. You see what I'm saying? That's what I give a damn about. But at the same time, though, when you have somebody who's sitting there, has used this as his main go-to, right? The Epstein file, Epstein list, let's just say, using that as his main go-to during the first administration and during his whole campaign going into his second win and his second term as president of these United States, you'd think that he wouldn't speak in this kind of way. You'd think that he would just kind of shut his mouth and keep it moving. But he keeps talking. Okay, guys? He keeps talking. Now, actually, I did this in the pop-up video, but I got to pull this up anyway. Sorry for it. This is just me shooting from the hip here. But this is absolutely nuts. Okay. The stuff that's been going on here. So hold on real quick. Let me just pull this up so we have it. All right. Let me see if I can get this. Is this it? No. Hold on. What's really crazy about this is that he continues to speak, he continues to keep talking, and in a way, it's like all you have to do is just keep your mouth shut, keep doing what you're doing. If you want to buy a golf course, do you, right? If you want to do these certain things, by all means, as long as it's not on the taxpayer dollar, do your thing, right? But he continues to say things that keep on getting him deeper and deeper into the situation, right? Deeper and deeper into trouble. And again, this is not something that's going to help him, long story short. Now, is he ever going to stop talking? I don't know. And I'm wondering if after this situation, which is like, obviously a massive bombshell, it's shocking the whole world, everyone's reacting to it. It does make you wonder, will this make him stay quiet? Will this stop him from speaking out, right? But unfortunately, I don't know if that will. I think he's going to continue talking the way he talks, saying what he says, until he just talks himself into trouble, even into more trouble, I mean. So this is a very, very odd, very, very odd situation. I'm sorry, guys. I'm trying to find the actual clip that I had, and I just can't seem to find it. And that's what's so frustrating about this. But anyway, I was trying to give you guys like the origin story, because like he talks about how, and I'm just going to say it. You want to see it? Go check out my video. I highly recommend it. Okay. But he basically said, okay, before we go into this, and this is just the audio. All right. The video is on my recent pop-up video. Okay, go check it out. I highly, highly recommend it. Yeah, I went to the history tab, but I've been watching so many videos since last night. You have no idea. Okay, I've been doing a lot of research, doing a lot of deep diving, trying to get as much information as I can with all the stuff that's going on right now, with Epstein, with the FBI finding burn bags in a secret room, which makes no sense. It makes no sense. But we're going to talk about that in a little bit. So like I said, I've been doing some deep diving and just trying to get as much information as I can on all the stuff that's been going on. Okay. So with that being said, Trump was in Scotland. Okay. He was out there in Scotland. Okay. And enjoying his time doing golf, cheating at golf, buying a golf course, opening a new golf course with his name on it and all that stuff. Right. And he has this press briefing while he's out there. And they start asking him about why did you have a fallout with Epstein? And so he says, at that time, he says, you know what, honestly, I don't want to tell you, I don't want to get into too many details, but he said, there was just some stuff that he did while at the resort, while at my estate, the Mar-a-Lago spa. And he was just taking my workers. He was taking the helpers from my place. I told him, don't do it anymore. And then he said, hey, he stopped, but then he started doing it again. So he said, I had to let him go. He was kicked out, excommunicated, basically persona non grata, as he said. But, he had a huge problem with him going and taking his people from his spa. Now, here's the thing. Virginia Giuffre, and hopefully I'm saying her last name correct, but she was also known as Virginia Roberts. Okay, now it's before she passed, her name changed to Virginia Giuffre. But she was one of the main people, one of the main whistleblowers that was basically trying to bury Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell for the terrible, egregious things that they did to her and to over near 1,000 victims, okay, in and out of the Epstein Island and Lolita Express, right? So he talks about her saying, he talks specifically about Virginia Giuffre, basically saying, yeah, she was one of the girls that was taken from me, basically confirming that Virginia Giuffre was an underage girl at that time, that these girls that were being taken from his spa were actually indeed underage girls. So this is a huge problem here because instantly you go, wait, hold on. Hold the phone. Press the brakes here really quick. You mean to tell me that he knew that these girls were underage and that they were being taken by a creep that he called, or at least through his people, he says he was a creep, that Jeffrey Epstein was a creep. And that's quite the name. That's quite a word to describe one of your besties, right? Of 15 years. But you knew that he was taking underage girls from you, from a spa that they were working at, which is weird because, an underage girl working at a spa that you own in Mar-a-Lago, at the Mar-a-Lago estate, seems a little bit weird. Okay? That seems a little bit weird, don't you think? So you got all this going on, girls being taken from your job, from your establishment, your spa, and you didn't raise no questions on why are you taking my girls? Also, why are you taking these underage girls? Most importantly, you're taking these underage girls. What's going on? But he eventually called him a creep. He didn't like how he was maneuvering out here, how he was taking his workers. That was the main problem he had. He said it in this clip that I was trying to show. But like I said, I have it in my pop-up video, right? In my most recent video on the channel. Go check it out. He talks about it. Yeah, I didn't like it. She did this. He did this, and this. He was taking my workers. He even doubles down on these claims again. Okay. He even doubles down on these claims in his Air Force One flight back from Scotland back to America. which is even more insane. Now, this one has subtitles so we can read exactly what is being said, because I know that audio was really tough, especially, it's in an airplane. It's hard to hear stuff in airplanes. You know what I mean? But he's also still confirming. He's making it even worse, y'all. What he's confirming is making it even worse. Do you understand? This is not making the situation any better for him. It's making it worse, because instantly you're going, well, wait a second. All of these potential victims and or are actually victims, okay? You did nothing to help stop that. You just said persona non grata, and that's it? You didn't call the police? You didn't call law enforcement? You didn't do a deep dive? You didn't do any type of investigation into the situation? Make it make sense. And the other thing I didn't get a chance to ask before, which, I see Nicole B just saying the same thing. Literally what I was going to say next is, why would you have underage employees? Now, I know in certain states, the age of the oldest age or the youngest age you can start working at is, some places it can be 16 years old. Some places it can be 15 and a half. It just depends on, the state that you live in. Okay. Some are even older than that. But at the same time, so there is still a possibility in the state he could hire on younger girls, okay, to work there. Just saying that. Okay, within the law, he could hire the young girls. Seems a little bit weird, though, that if you're noticing that your workers, and if they are underage girls, disappearing and being taken by Epstein to an island, why weren't you looking into that? We talk about little girls. We're talking about people who are not of legal age, being taken by someone of the likes like Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. See what I'm saying? So it doesn't make any sense, too. And then, the other thing, too, is Virginia Giuffre, and of course I want to look this up, too. I'm wondering how old she was when she actually was taken from her job here at Mar-a-Lago. Like, how old was she when she was basically stolen from Trump by Epstein? That's something I'm also kind of curious about, right? Because if she wasn't of age, then why would she be, quote unquote, working anywhere for that matter? Okay. So again, it's just pretty insane. That's pretty insane. I'm going to have to look that up here in a second. But I want to play this real quick. All right. Because I'm seeing the numbers. You guys are some of y'all are saying 14. Some are saying 16. Some people are saying 17. And here's the thing. In certain states, underage, being underage, underage changes in different states, right? You could be underage at 16, but in some states that's not the case, right? In some states, underage ain't 16. You see what I'm saying? So I'm kind of curious as to what age she was. Regardless, what happened to her is disgusting and should not have happened to her. But it does show that she was not of age. She was not of legal age to be transported back and forth, being told to do certain things that she shouldn't have been doing, right? Made to do things, groomed, etc. Why wasn't there any type of investigation into this a long time ago? Just doesn't seem to make any sense. Let's take a listen to this audio. Like I said, he explains, I kicked him out of the place, persona non grata. Gross guy, didn't want to mess with him anymore. He's a creep. I don't understand why everybody's all about this creep, right? He was talking about this for years, by the way. All right. Then he says, kicked him out because he was stealing my workers. He was stealing the people who were working my place. Couldn't have that anymore. Wasn't cool with that anymore. So then they start asking him questions in here. in his Air Force One. And I don't know if he's tired. I don't know if he took a pill, okay, and he just decided to stand up and start talking to the press and just give out more information, which, by the way, I mean, if this brings more clarity and gets us closer to justice, then by all means, you know what I mean? By all means, go ahead, do it. You know what I'm saying? Keep talking, baby. But at the same time, though, it's like, damn, he's still talking. This is crazy.
Mr. President, Epstein has a certain reputation, obviously. But just curious, were some of the workers that were taken from you, were some of them young women?
Some of them.
Were some of them young women?
Well, I don't want to say, but everyone knows the people that were taken. And it was the concept of taking people that work for me is bad. But that story's been pretty well out there. And the answer is yes, they were.
Yes, they were young women?
Yes, they were. Right? That's part one. He says, yes, they were. Young women taken from my job or from my spa to go over here, right? To go over to Epstein. He had a huge problem with that, by the way. Okay?
In the spa.
In the spa.
Yeah, people that work in the spa. I have a great spa, one of the best spas in the world at Mar-a-Lago. And people were taken out of the spa, hired by him. In other words, gone. And other people would come and complain, this guy is taking people from the spa. I didn't know that. And then,
hold on. So he says someone came up and was, people were coming up and complaining about how he was taking the young women from the spa, right? Okay. Wouldn't you want to look into that and see what's going on with that a little bit? It bothered him enough to say, you're kicked out persona non grata. You're not allowed to be at this estate, at this spa anymore. In fact, we ain't friends anymore, right? This was the moment that broke them up, okay? This was the moment where he said, I'm not cool with you anymore. In fact, the story before this was that they were both going after some real estate at the same time. They were going after a building or something like that. And that's the reason why they were butting heads, because they both wanted this particular Palm Springs estate of some sort, and it didn't work out. They started butting heads. And I don't know if Trump became the victor in the owner of that space or not, but they were bumping heads. That was the story in the beginning. And now we have now heard that the story has officially changed. At first, it was about real estate. It was about properties. And now it's about girls. The same dude, by the way, let me remind you, this is the same guy. These are the same two wild and crazy guys that would go out, have a great time, chase women, share women, known each other for 10 to 15, well, really 15 years. Okay? Think about all this stuff, guys. Okay? Think about all this stuff that they said that Trump was saying. No, we fell out over property. We were going after the same property. We're not cool anymore. We just, now we don't talk. Now we just suddenly stop talking. We're not friends anymore, right? And now he's gone and he's a creep, right? Now we're going to drain the swamp, right? And now over the past 72 hours, we're hearing a completely different narrative. Now we're hearing a completely different story. It's not about real estate. It's about girls. It's about young girls that used to work at Mar-a-Lago Spa that were being taken by Epstein and being, of course, moved, for lack of a better term. Okay. And yeah, isn't that interesting that that he said initially it was about property. And now it's almost like he's talking about property with these girls. These girls were taken from me. Yeah, they were stolen, right? It's just interesting that before it was about property, actual land, maybe a building. Now it's about young girls and how they used to work at the spa and how they made Trump aware of it at the time. He didn't know But instead of doing a follow-up and maybe a look-see-loo into the situation, he just says, Epstein, you're gone. You're no longer allowed here anymore. We already talked about this before. I asked you not to do this here, and you still are doing it. You are still trying to recruit women for your stuff. I'm not cool with that. Stop. He doesn't stop. So that's when he says, you got to go. You got to go. We're not friends anymore. Persona non grata, right? You also got to remember, too, like, I want to remind you this, too, that there are a lot of people, okay? There's a lot of people out here that there's like, he had his own pageant, beauty pageants, all that stuff, right? Now, I'm not trying to connect the dots, okay? I'm just saying, when you look at the information, it starts to make you question some of these things. I'm not sitting here saying that, Trump is the bad dude and, all that. No. I don't know all that, right? But this looks very bad for Trump. Because, again, this was an opportunity for him to maybe save some people. Maybe get the guy arrested, thrown behind bars for the rest of his life. And that didn't happen. And I'm kind of wondering why. Remember, he said these people were stolen from him. And at a time he went up to Epstein and said, stop doing this, please. The guy apparently stopped for a second, but then continued doing it again. And then he caught him. And that's when he said, enough is enough, you're gone. But the thing is that if it happened 2 times in a row, and these are all underage girls, you'd think that he would turn to somebody, law enforcement, whatever, and push the law enforcement towards a monster like this boogeyman, Jeffrey Epstein. I'm just saying, ask the questions, right? Think about this. This is very, very odd, right? At least to me. Let's continue.
When I heard about it, I told them, I said, listen, we don't want you taking our people, whether it was spa or not spa. I don't want them taking people. And he was fine. And then not too long after that, he did it again. And I said, out of here.
So he said, out of here. But instead of him going, okay, there's a problem here, and I see that you have a pattern, or maybe he realized that his friend Epstein has a serious sickness and a problem. Instead of him actually going and getting this man in trouble, getting him in front of law enforcement, he just says, out of here. Persona non grata. That's it? That seems a little bit weird, but let's continue on. This is when they talk about Virginia Giuffre.
Mr. President, did one of those stolen, persons that include Virginia Giuffre?
I don't know. I think she worked at the spa. I think so. I think that was one of the people. Yeah. He stole her.
So there it is. He stole her. He stole my stuff, my people, my workers, things that, his belongings, his property in some really, really weird way. Now, here's the thing. It is what it is. It is what it is. I know that there's, I get it. There's Trump supporters in the chat, and there are not Trump supporters in the chat. All I ask is for you to think about this for a second, independently for yourself. Okay? This is coming out of Trump's mouth. This is not something that just is some AI audio that was created. No, he was on Air Force One saying these words with his own mouth. And I know that he has a tendency to say big things. He's a big talker, and that's fine. That's what got him the president's seat in the first place, right? But at the same time, you can't deny that those things that are being said here are damning. And if there isn't any type of investigation being brought into this situation, I don't know what to tell you, because this is very odd and very bad. And I'm wondering if Trump is going to stop talking. Period. Okay? But I don't know if he will stop talking. Because here's the thing. We've already seen the attempts that he's had on trying to throw anything out there so that to distract and deflect the focus on the Epstein files. And maybe at this point now he's like, all right, let me get straight to the point then. Let me just give you my side of it so that you don't think I'm like, so if when the files do come out, I'm not looking like a butthole out here, right? I'm not looking like the bad guy. How about you I'm just going to say it. You know, maybe the truth shall set me free. Or if I give them some of the truth, but not the whole truth, then they'll let off a little bit, right? So then when the information does come out, I don't look as bad. I don't look as tarnished. Maybe that's what it is. Here's the other thing, though, too. Because I know that there's going to be some people out here that are going to argue, you know, and that are going to sit there and go, you know nothing. You know nothing. You got it all wrong, blah, blah, blah. Well, I mean, I'm just listening to what he said, baby. I'm not going off of crazy conspiracy theories. I'm not spinning off this planet with ancient aliens wearing my freaking tinfoil hat. I'm going off of what he mother loving said in this audio right here. Okay? I'm just going after that. And when you have somebody out here putting out this stuff, but saying it like that, it's like, wow, either you tired, either you took a Xanny and you're about to go to sleep, but the press came up and you're like, I'm fine. And then the Xanny kind of kicked in while you were talking. Maybe that's what it was. Maybe he was in La La Land. Okay. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know what is going on here, but I will tell you, it's a bad look. It's a very, very bad look for Trump. He didn't want that to happen, I'm sure, but he still said what he said. And it's still going to have people reacting in a massive, massive way. Now, Virginia Giuffre said that she was working at Mar-a-Lago, the Mar-a-Lago spa, before she was actually recruited by Ghislaine Maxwell to work for Jeffrey Epstein. And in her interviews, she talks about how she was basically coached, for lack of a better term, to do certain things, how to please a man in many, many ways, more than just massaging, okay? Much more disgusting things, much more carnal things that no child should be performing, right? But where she was recruited from was from that Mar-a-Lago spa. Trump confirms it now in that interview that he had on Air Force One, flying back from Scotland to America. This is not good. Okay? This is not good. And there's a lot of people that don't believe that Virginia Giuffre was telling the truth. They all think, oh, that girl just done lost her marbles. Well, he just confirmed a few things now, didn't he? Just by saying, yep, she was there. He stole her from me. Crazy. All right? Absolutely crazy. And since we're already on the Epstein thing, I'm not gonna go back and forth. We're gonna go straight into the next piece of this information, which is absolutely, this is some wild stuff. Okay. Now, I don't know if this is a result of what he said, of what Trump said on that Air Force One flight from Scotland back to America, but some big bombshell just dropped today. And I'd be remiss if I didn't talk about it today. Okay. This is huge. And now you have the Senate, okay, Senate Democrats actually seeking to force release of the Jeffrey Epstein files with rarely used rule of 5 law. Don't worry, they had a whole press conference, which we're going to be looking at here in a little bit here as well, okay? But still, no matter what, this is absolutely crazy that now you have the likes of Chuck Schumer stepping out and going, release the files, get them out. This is ridiculous. This is absolutely ridiculous. And here's the other thing. I want to point something out to those of y'all who are like the MAGA base. Okay. Well, The MAGA base that isn't sitting there saying, yeah, release the files. The ones that are out here basically saying like, oh, he's about to, expose all the Democrats. The Democrats are the ones that are so scared right now. That's what he's doing. He's doing this long game and he's about to expose all these Democrats. Look at all these sinister, corrupt, crooked Democrats, right? From the Epstein files, not on the Russia, not the files, which we will talk about here in a little bit. And if there's corruption on that, on the Democrat side, then we're going to be here talking about that too. But the fact that they are sitting here, people are sitting here trying to move the goalposts as much as they can. This is not at all a moment where the Democrats are trying to hide. If they were really trying to hide, they would not say, release the Kraken. They wouldn't say that. They wouldn't even waste their time. They'd stay quiet, mum's the word, and they wouldn't say nothing. But now you got Chucky Schumer coming out here going, release them. Get them all out here. What the hell is wrong with y'all? He been talking about it. He said he was going to have this stuff, blah, 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 all this stuff. He said he going to drain the swamp. And what happened? Nothing, nada, zippity doodah. F this. Release the files. So let's take a look at this article. And then, of course, we got this the actual press conference to take a look at as well. But they seek to force the release of these files with rarely used rule of five law. And I'm kind of curious, what is rule of five law, right? So let's take a look at this. So Senate Democrats are trying to force the Justice Department to release the Jeffrey Epstein files using a little-known law that directs executive agencies to turn over information to congressional oversight committees. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer announced today. He says today, Senate Democrats, take additional action to try and uncover the truth about the Epstein files. This is what he said on the Senate floor. And he proceeded to describe the nearly century-old law the minority would use to try to compel the release of the quote-unquote full and complete Epstein files. The federal law, known as Section 2954 and referred to as the Rule of Five, allows 5 members on the Senate Committee on Homeland Security and Government Affairs to submit an information request on matters within its jurisdiction to a federal agency. Enacted in 1928, the obscure law is part of Congress's ability to wield influence over executive branch agencies and gives minority members of the oversight committees the ability to request information without the help of the committee chairman. So they are going, do you know how bad? Listen, I got to hit the dun-dun. This is a big deal. Do you realize how bad they really want? They want these files out so bad that they can taste it. Do you see what I'm saying? Do you see what's going on? The Senate is basically saying, F this, get it out right now. We're pulling out something from 1928, something that was enacted in 1928. We're reaching all the way back to when they were doing the Charleston, okay? And we're going to make you put it out here. This is how bad the American people want the transparency. Because again, they're going, what's taking so long? Do you understand? Do you understand what's taking so long? Why is this taking so damn long? Okay? Why are they holding this information? And why do they keep going, well, we're going to get down to the bottom of it. We're going to sit down with Ghislaine. You already have the information. You don't even have to sit down with Ghislaine. You don't need to have to hide behind Ghislaine to get the information that you need. You already have the information. You have thousands of pages of files, of documents. So what are you talking about? And this is exactly what's going on with the Senate, within the Senate Democrats. They're basically saying, what the hell is going on? Why is this taking so long? This should have already been out. You want transparency. You want honesty. You want realness. This stuff should have been out. The moment you said the list doesn't exist, the file should have been out. The moment that Trump said, oh, yeah, you know what? The list does exist, but it's the damn Demis, those damn Demi-Moores that did this. Dag nabbit. Blame it on them. Then it's like, oh, if it really is on the Democrats are sitting here saying, oh, really? Go ahead, expose all of that ass. Expose it all then. Drain the mother-loving swamp. If the swamp is filled with them damn Demi-Moores, expose. Release the Kraken. But they haven't done it yet. They're like, wait, now we got to get the code to get to the button to release the Kraken. So hold on. We need to do a little bit of information, and background before we actually release the Kraken. And then when we get to that red button, we still have to do a do-si-do and a little bow to your partner before we actually hit the actual red button. And, my back has sciatica and arthritis on my L4 and L5. So that might take a little bit of time because I need a little yoga lessons first before I actually bend down and actually hit the red button. Shut up. That's basically what Chuck Schumer is saying. Shut your face. Shut your mouth. If you have the information, expose it. Just be done with it. Quit with the bull. Nish. Okay? Put it all out there. Show us that whole ass and be done with it. Right? But no, that's not what they're doing. That's not what they're doing. They're going, oh, well, thank God Ghislaine wants to talk. We got to get down there and get down to the bottom of it. And we're going to go through 100 different names to see if she knows any of them. If they know 100 names and they're talking to her about 100 names, and those names are in the files, just so you guys know. Okay? Just a little heads up. Just a little heads up. And this is where we're at now. That they are literally reaching from the dustiest shelves deep into like the basement files, and they're going, oh, like they're like freaking Indiana Jones. They're like, oh, we found one. You see what I'm saying? The rule of 5, everyone. The rule of 5. Oh, that's what they're doing right now because they're desperate. They're desperate to get the information out there. So much that they went all the way back to 1928. They jumped in that DeLorean, okay? And they went back to the future to get that information and brought it all the way back over here and said, oh, by the way, you see this right here? Yeah, we got that. We got your ass. You better give us this stuff. It's the rule of 5 now. And that's exactly what we're doing right now. Ain't that about to shut your mouth? And I think it's crazy that they have to go to such lengths to get this information out here. Let's take a look at this press conference that Chuck Schumer and Senate Democrats had just a few hours ago. Enjoy.
A century-old and little-known law known as the Rule of 5 to compel the Department of Justice to release the full and complete Epstein files. Under federal law, when any 5 senators on the Homeland Security Committee call on the executive branch must comply. Our request covers all documents, files, evidence, and other materials in possession of the DOJ, the FBI, related to the case of the United States versus Jeffrey Epstein. While protecting the victims' identities can and must be of top importance, the public has a right to know who enabled, knew of, or participated in one of the most heinous sex trafficking operations in history. Let me remind everyone of what's happened in recent months. Donald Trump campaigned on releasing the Epstein files. He broke that promise. In February, FBI Director Kash Patel promised during sworn testimony in his confirmation hearing he would, quote, make sure the American public knows the full weight of what happened. Well, that has yet to happen. A.G. Bondi said in February that his supposed, quote, client list, she said, was sitting on her desk right now to review. And she said that's been a directive by President Trump. 5 months later, we have zero answers, only more questions.
Now, here's the thing. I know some people are not a fan of Chuck Schumer. I mean, it is what it is. But here's the thing. I believe he's doing the right thing. At least he's trying something. You see what I'm saying? At least he's trying to do something and get this information out. No one else is. Everyone else is sitting on their hands. You got to understand, we had the House Republicans actually go out of their way to deny the files from being released in the very beginning because Pam Bondi said there was no list and that there was no outside third or fourth parties involved in Epstein at all. Like, that's insane, y'all. Okay? So somebody trying to do something, okay? Somebody trying to do, and at least we're seeing, because right now, like I said, right now, there's a hardcore, the MAGA base that's very, very hardcore, okay? Very hardcore that are sitting there going like, oh yeah, the Dems aren't doing anything. Don't you see the Dems aren't doing anything? They're not doing anything because they're worried about this being true. They're worried about, it being true that the Democrats put all this stuff out to cover, to make Trump look bad or make anybody else look bad, that this is one big cover up and one big fabricated thing by the Democrats. Well, look at what we're seeing. Senate Democrats are literally stepping forward and saying, no. You don't sit there and say that about us. Hell to the no. Let's get it out then. If we had something to do with it, then expose that information and let it be what it is. And we will take the brunt. We will take the fall. We will take the responsibility, and we will take anybody who is on this list at all that are Democrats, and they will take the brunt of it. They will take accountability, and justice will be served. But if you notice, if you look at the Republican side, they're just sitting on their hands, not doing anything from what we've seen. They're blocking this as much as they can. That's absolutely insane. At least somebody is stepping forward and trying to do some doggone thing. This should have been already happened, okay? So they finally are doing it, dagnabbit. So, we want transparency, right? We want the truth. I don't care if this is Marjorie Taylor Greene, okay? I don't care if this is the most alt-right individual trying to expose this information. If it means the information is going to get exposed, then hey, you on our team. Truth and transparency.
What have we gotten since? Stonewall, evasion, lies. Trump was asked earlier this month if he had ever been informed whether or not he was mentioned in the Epstein files, and now we know he lied. He said no, but in fact, he was told by the Attorney General in May that he was mentioned. And when the House had an opportunity to take votes on the Epstein files, Speaker Johnson skedaddled out of town, launching the Epstein recess. This is not complicated. After promising full transparency for years, every single time Trump, his administration, Republican leaders have had a chance to be transparent about the Epstein files, they've chosen to hide. The evasions, the delays, the excuses, they are not just odd, they're alarming. It begs the question, if there's nothing to hide, why all the evasiveness? Trump.
Exactly. Like I said, and I love how he broke down the timeline. And yeah, he did say skedaddle. He really did say skedaddle. Yeah, Mike Johnson, what did he do? Speaker of the House, what did he do? He gave the vacation several weeks early. Doesn't that seem a little weird, y'all? Come on, the timeline is weird. And he's breaking down the timeline beautifully. Okay? He's looking at the information. Trump's been denying. I'm sorry, but we have to call it like it is. Call it like we see it. The timeline is very odd. And they're sitting there going, well, instead of them just leaning on the fact like this is because of the Democrats and what they've done. All of these things are lies by the Democrats and what they put out here. It's the Russia. It is Obama and the past administration, who is the worst administration in the history of administrations. And we have been so successful for the last 6 months. You have to remember that. Everything we have to blame is on the blue side. It's like, wait a second. If that's the truth, then expose it. Come on, man. Just do it. And look at the Demis. Look at them damn Demi Moores are sitting there going, oh, you talk about this timeline, baby. Let's talk about that timeline. Doesn't that seem a little weird? It's been years in the making. And now when it's time to release the information, you are nowhere to be found. In fact, you are playing golf in Scotland on a brand new course that you made and bought yourself. Quite strange. The timeline's a little bit weird. And then as he's coming back in from Scotland, okay, playing a little golf in Scotland, he says what he said. These girls were getting stolen from me. You don't think that's going to inspire somebody the likes of Schumer being like, oh, of course he's going to do that. Come on. Come on. Somebody got to. Oh, my God. The timeline is everything, right? The timeline is everything.
He should stop hiding from the truth. He should stop hiding from the American people. So today, Senate Democrats took action. We're invoking federal law and using our authority as a check on the executive to compel transparency. That's why today's letters matter. Today's letter matters. It's not a stunt. It's not symbolic. It's a formal exercise of congressional power under federal law. And we expect an answer from DOJ by August the 15th. That's what accountability looks like. This is what oversight looks like. And this is what keeping your promises to the American people look like.
Okay, I'm sorry. But I also want to say something really quick. That's too long. You mean to tell me 15 days from now? 16 days from now? Sorry. That's a long ass time. That's too much time. It's like, I will give you till next week. You see what I'm saying? This ain't like a situation where his grades are slipping and he needs a little bit of time to get his grades back up. You see what I'm saying? No. Release it now. You have until the end of next week. There it is. But they're like, we'll give you until the 15th of August. Holy poop on a stick.
I urge my Republican colleagues in the Senate, if you believe in transparency, if you believe Congress has a role to play in checking the executive, join us. Join us in calling for more transparency on the Epstein files. Because once there's transparency, the truth emerges.
Okay, he got his preach on. Okay, he said, yes, when we get together, the truth prevails. Okay, I said the Lord. I said the Lord. Yeah, here it is. I agree 110% with what he's saying. In fact, it's great that he's trying to reach across the aisle and basically say, hey, can we hold hands? Can we work together? Can we make this thing happen? You feel me? Because, you know, when we get together, we are a lot stronger together than we are apart. And right now, we should agree on the fact that this information is kind of long overdue and should be exposed. Don't you think? You see what I'm saying? Yes, he said together. Okay. Because the Lord says we're stronger together than apart. I said amen. Can I get an amen? Okay.
Because once we get the truth, we can have accountability, we can move forward, not just on this, but on many issues affecting the American people, protecting healthcare, growing the middle class, defending democracy. But none of that is possible if the public loses faith that justice only applies to some, not all. Senator Peters has taken a great lead on this issue as ranking member of the Homeland Security Committee, and I'm proud to call on him to speak.
Now, this is when I wish I had an organ and a choir behind me and everything, you know, just the, yeah, you know what I mean? Just doing all that stuff. But yeah, I say 1,000 times amen to all of this. Please and thank you. Make it so. But will it stick? That's the question, right? What is going to happen here? Where do we go from here with this information, right? With this turn of events? Pretty insane stuff. I'm gonna let this guy, you know, talk his talk really quick. But again, it is very interesting, like I said, that Chuck Schumer, of all people, is coming out and saying, you know what? No, F this. We're gonna reach way back to a to a law that, you know, that it was created a century ago, almost a century ago. Okay. That's crazy. That's crazy. Just so they can get this information out here. Come on now.
Thank you, Chuck. Well, thank you, Chuck. You know, the American people want and deserve transparency from their elected officials. On the campaign trail, President Trump promised many times to deliver that transparency by making the records in the Jeffrey Epstein case public. And now he is going back on that promise. This kind of reversal is what leads to distrust of elected officials. It also, we all know, it breeds conspiracy theories and misinformation. But the solution is very clear. Americans deserve transparency from congressional Republicans and the Trump administration. Our Republican colleagues are failing to conduct independent oversight of the administration and call for this information to be made public. Some have even publicly said they want to provide, and this is a member of the U.S. Senate, a Republican member, who said that they wanted to provide, quote, cover. Republican senators said it. They want to provide cover to President Trump after his reversal. And that's why my Homeland Security Committee Democratic colleagues and I are pressing the Justice Department to produce files related to the Jeffrey Epstein investigation. We are using very unique statutory authority that is granted only to our committee, to Homeland Security and Government Affairs. The statute that we are invoking requires the administration to hand over documents requested by any 5 members of the Senate committee. This letter demands that the Justice Department produce documents that Attorney General Pam Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel have publicly already confirmed they have in their possession. We all know, in fact, that the Attorney General said, quote, she said, they're sitting on her desk. It should be pretty easy to turn over documents that are sitting on the Attorney General's desk. It's certainly disappointing that we have to take this action to hold President Trump to his word, but we believe that providing this transparency is what is best for the American people. Joining me on that letter, and also,
again, like I said, it just doesn't make any earthly sense. They're saying exactly what we all have been saying. They're echoing exactly what the world has been saying in unison. And I'm sure some people will believe that that's one big publicity stunt, you know, trying to make the Democrats look like they're, trying to make them look like they're the heroes in this situation and whatnot. No, look at the paper trail. Look at the timeline. Look at the information that has been given out here from day one. And then look how much of a train wreck it's become over the last 4 weeks. It's been insane and extremely unfortunate, because this is something that should have just been extremely open and extremely transparent once they had all the information ready to submit. They did not have to go the route that they went. It did not have to go in this particular way, in this particular pattern. They made it worse by saying that there wasn't a list, then Trump coming out and saying that there is a list, but he's blaming the Democrats and saying that it has to do with a whole big Russia cover up and all that stuff. It's sad, y'all, and not right. And it makes it strange. Do you see what I'm saying? Makes it extremely strange. So again, I don't know. I don't know. All I know is that the timeline is weird. The fact that they're stepping forward and saying all this stuff says a lot to me. And I'm really looking forward to seeing what move the DOJ does now, because they actually hold all the information, right? They actually hold all of the information. But we're going to move on. We got to move on to the next thing. Now, by the way, we have a poll pinned to the top of the chat, so please go and check it out. Actually, let me get these super chats here really quick. And again, real quick, before we go to the super chats, can you hit that like button down below, please, and thank you, okay? That would be greatly Greatly appreciated. All right. I'd love to see if we can get it to like 500 likes. That would be dope. Okay. So hit that like button down below, crush it, do it to do, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't done that yet. Hit that follow button if you're watching on other platforms. That'd be greatly appreciated as well. Okay, so let's get into some of these super chats. So Bronco, thank you so much for the love. I appreciate it. We appreciate you staying on top of everything. Of course, Bronco, appreciate you, man. Salute. This is what I do. This is my job, and I love it. Rod, thank you so much. If anyone is still supporting Trump, they are willingly being ignorant. I kind of agree with that too. I agree. I agree with that. Okay. If they're supporting him in regards to this stuff, this is bad. And if he's doing something, like I said, this is going to be very interesting. What the turn of events are going to be, how things are going to transpire as time goes on. I'm literally going to be sitting on the edge of my seat, because it could be detrimental to his own legacy. This could be detrimental to his actual presidency if he's involved in anything sinister. Holy crap. Also, if he's withholding information, this could be really, really bad too. Okay? This could be very, very bad. I wish he was great, but that's not and has never been the case. Like I said before, I want us all to win, right? I just want us all to win. And if that's Trump in office, or if that's someone else in office, then it is what it is, as long as we're winning. But I don't want crooks in office. I don't want no crooks in office. And if that means that it's him, wow, it'd be shocking for sure. He shouldn't have said what he said on the plane. I'm telling you right now, he shouldn't have said what he said on the plane. I'm just being real. Breezy, thank you so much for being a member for the past 8 months. I appreciate it. Property, been saying it for days. Yeah, he did. He been saying that. Right, again, thank you so much. Should minors be massaging adults? You know what? That's a damn good question, right? So at a spa, unless it's like front desk workers, right? If they're doing front desk, setting up schedules and stuff like that, reapplying, restocking the closets with towels and ointments and stuff like that, I could see something like that. But as far as like them putting their hands on actual adults, they better not be doing that at Mar-a-Lago Spa. One of the best ever, right? One of the best spas. That'd be very bad if that was the case. And maybe somebody needs to look into that too. He said it. You see what I'm saying? These are words that came out his doggone mouth. This is not something that like he didn't say and now the speculations and the rumors are coming out. He said those things out of his mouth. Now, yeah, he could backtrack. He could walk it back and say something else, and people would still be like, oh, yeah, well, you good, Trump. You the man. You the man, Trump. You the man. Okay? But at the same time, he still said what he said. So I wouldn't be surprised if people are looking into that. It's bad. It's very, very bad. Here's also something that's really bad that Trump is maybe considering. I think this is the dumbest thing in the world. This is the dumbest idea in the history of dumb, in my personal opinion. Trump is seriously considering pardoning Diddy. I got some thoughts about this. First off, 10,000 thumbs down on this idea. I'm going to tell you my thoughts here in a second. I do have some thoughts about this. I really, really do. Let's get into this first. And there's other people. His MAGA base is very much saying, please don't do that. Don't do that. Do not pardon this guy. For various reasons. We're going to talk about that here in a second, too. So President Trump may be giving Sean Diddy Combs a get-out-of-jail-free card. An administration source told Deadline that a pardon for the act bad rapper Diddy, I hate when they do that with we're so hip, we know some of his songs. Who cares? It's Diddy, all right? The diddler is being seriously considered after Combs was found guilty on 2 counts of prostitution. However, a source told Page 6, the article we're reading here. The White House will not confirm or deny pardons that may or may not happen. Okay. And there they are. All of them together with Melania, right? Interesting. Page 6 has reached out to reps for both Trump and Combs, but for comment, but did not immediately hear back. So in May, Trump first shared that he was potentially willing to pardon Combs, okay, for this. This is while he was in the middle of his actual Epstein trial. He said, "I would certainly look at the facts if I think somebody was mistreated, whether they like me or don't like me," he said. Now, the thing is that maybe Trump and Diddy got along back in the day, but as soon as Trump got into office or started running for president, Diddy did not like Trump anymore. He is very anti-Trump. So it'd be very interesting if Trump was to go to the likes of someone like Diddy and give him a pardon, especially when he's not someone who is a supporter of Trump at all now. So this is very interesting. And also you got to remember, Diddy was involved in a lot of crazy stuff as well. The allegations of his freak off nights, his freak off tapes, putting these women through these crazy things, making these men come in and do God knows what with these girls, putting them all on tape, etc. And that's just two of the girls that we know about. Okay. Two of the women is, the Jane Doe and Cassie, right? So it's very interesting that the world in which these two guys are living in, right? It's very interesting. So it wouldn't have any impact on me, he said. Trump then shared details about his personal relationship with the disgraced MC. He said he used to really like me a lot, but I think when I ran for politics, which is true, okay, the relationship busted up from what I read. No, he didn't like you no more. He was on the side of Obama. He wasn't riding with you, okay? And that was very obvious. Okay, he says, I don't know. He didn't tell me that, but I read some little bit nasty statements in a paper all of a sudden, he said. So again, if Diddy gets pardoned by Trump, let me first off, let me just get, because Megyn Kelly, who is also, very MAGA based, okay, who also has a very interesting roller coaster of a ride relationship, toxic relationship, if you will, with Trump as well, who actually still leans on him and says, Trump all the way until the Epstein stuff happened. Now she's kind of veering off the side now. But she even says that Trump should not pardon Diddy at all. So she's speaking out to urge President Trump against potentially pardoning Sean Diddy Combs. So on X today, she said Trump should not pardon Diddy because he doesn't deserve it. Diddy doesn't deserve it. I agree. I agree with Megyn Kelly here. He doesn't deserve it. He doesn't. Featuring unnamed sources that considered the possibility of a pardon. He's a Trump hater. He's a woman monster. We'll just use that instead, okay, for code words. MAGA is already upset over elites seeming to cover for each other. This will not help. GOP struggling with young female voters, most of whom will hate a Diddy pardon. Kelly continued. She's not wrong with this. And outside of the idea of like, well, what will this happen? What would this do to the votes? No. How about just common decency and the right thing? Giving this guy a pardon, like giving the likes of Ghislaine Maxwell a pardon, would absolutely tear this country apart. I know that I keep saying that, all right? But that's very, very true. You got someone like Megyn Kelly saying something where she's more concerned about she's more concerned about the votes in a way, okay, about the MAGA-based votes than actually the common decency of right and wrong, right? The common sense of right and wrong. Let's not forget, it's a whole country that's going to be reacting to this. Sure, like I said, there's going to be people out here. If he gets pardoned, we'll have people out in the streets again, writhing all over the floor, lathering themselves in baby oil. We'll be back to that crap again. We will. But then there's going to be a base that's not going to be very happy about that. Not going to be happy about that at all, letting this man go. Because then also it makes everybody scared. Not only just the people who are victims of Diddy, not only the people who have gone up and testified, the witnesses and whatnot that have testified against Diddy, all of them will be shaking in their boots, right? A lot sooner than they thought. But let's not forget all the people that don't want Ghislaine Maxwell set free. Do you realize that if he pardons Diddy, that could be a foreshadowing of what's to come for Ghislaine Maxwell? Because right now, Ghislaine Maxwell is kind of sitting pretty right now. I'm sure she's eating steaks right now. She getting her good old-fashioned surf and turf. She got the steak with the lobster tail. She's getting this 5-star treatment right now. Why? Because she has information that could either destroy Trump and the administration or destroy the 1% of the 1%ers right now. She got a lot of power in her hands. Hence the reason why she wrote up that letter basically saying, give me clemency and give me the questions before the actual congressional hearing, which, by the way, that ain't going to happen, okay? But she had the balls to say it, though. Why? Because she's got power. She's got leverage, and that equals power, at least in this situation. And if he was to sit here and pardon the likes of Diddy for the things that he's been known to do and he's been caught on film doing, people are going to be very worried about how he's going to treat the Ghislaine Maxwell situation as well. Oh, and let's not forget also this whole situation is also a distraction. That's basically what it is. It's one big ass distraction. Remember, he said, Brian Kohlberger, you better tell us what's going on. We better know why you did this. Give us your motive. Where did you suddenly become a true crime junkie? Oh, Rosie O'Donnell, I'm going to throw away your citizenship. I'm really considering it, actually. Just taking away her citizenship, right? Remember all that stuff? Oh, we need to arrest Beyonce, Kamala, Oprah. Remember all those things? I mean, these were only a few days ago that he said these things. This is another distraction, by the way. Yes, everyone's clutching their pearls, at least the ones that want to keep Diddy locked up for the time that he's going to be given, right? If he gets sentenced to 4 years, then let him be in there for 4 years. Don't pardon his ass. Like I said, this is spitting in the faces of all victims and all survivors. Same thing. If you go with saying, hey, Ghislaine, you're free. If you out here just shelling them out like you Oprah, you get a pardon, you get a pardon, you get a pardon, like that the entire time, this is going to anger so many people, including his MAGA base. This will cause a rift even more within his MAGA base. The people on the left, they're already going to be sitting there going, this is wrong. They're going to be like, oh, man, that's wrong, man. We need to fight the power, man. And then there's going to be people. This is what I mean. It's going to cause a civil war within. I'm doing the Trump thing. I'm doing this, within side the MAGA base. That's what's going to happen. It's going to cause a civil war. It's going to split it right down the middle. Some people go, Diddy, all Diddy did was, jerk off and slather baby oil on people. Just because he likes to be cucked does not mean he did anything wrong. You know what I'm saying, okay? But at the same time, there's going to be the other side that's going to sit there and go, nah. What he did is wrong here. And it could be mostly female MAGA voters. Because how can you ignore that? How can you overlook something like that? That would piss me off. I don't care. Like I said, I don't care who the president is, okay? They're not God to me. They're a human being. They got voted in. Their job is to make sure we stay alive. We have food and clothes on our backs and the roof over our head, and that we don't have to work 15,000 hours a day just to make enough to buy a loaf of bread, okay? And keep us out of wars. That's it. For the most part, that's very, very broad strokes here, but you get what I'm saying, all right? If this was any other president that was doing this thing, I would sit here and say the same doggone thing. The hell are you smoking? We need to sit down and we need to have a real conversation about this, because this is wrong and really messed up. And I'm telling you right now, if he pardons Diddy, this will not be good. And then everyone will be very worried about Ghislaine Maxwell. Because if he's doing it for him, he could possibly do it for her too. And it may be a deal. Here's the other thing too. Could be a deal that he makes with Ghislaine. He'll be like, just don't say my name. You could testify. I give you a pardon, right? And you'll get your pardon. Just don't say my name at all. But there's something about this also that makes me wonder. Remember when Diddy put out a tweet with the side eye, and I said it was like the zestiest tweet ever in the history of tweets? Like, he comes out with a tweet and his tweet is him side-eyeing. It's a side-eye emoji, right? Something tells me that maybe Diddy knows something, and maybe he's been talking with the administration because he knows some things, and they're striking up a deal to maybe get him pardoned, because he might have some incriminating information that maybe the administration doesn't want the general public to know. Just a thought. Something to think about. But we'll see what happens with that. So we got to move on to the next thing, okay? I'm going to be real. These next few things are going to be very quick. I'm going to tell you right now. First off, Shannon Sharpe. You remember black leather scraps, okay? Remember that? Remember that, right? Well, he obviously settled with his Jane Doe, Gabriela Zuniga, who actually ended up retiring from long, arduous days of posting nudie photos on OnlyFans, just so you know. After that settlement, Shannon Sharpe gets fired from ESPN. Now, first off, I'm not even going to hit the dun-dun-dun, but I'm going to be honest. We knew this was going to happen. Didn't we? As soon as they found out about the lawsuit, they said he's just going to step down. Shannon Sharpe, we're just going to shut down. I just need to sit down and I'll come back after when the season's time. But then he settles, which some people would look at as a possible admission of guilt. You got to remember, allegedly, there's a video of him doing some things, and this video captures a crime, allegedly, where she says, no, a whole bunch of times, and he doesn't stop. It's very bad stuff for Shannon Sharpe, long story short. And now he's crying. He's crying all the way. He's crying his ass all the way back to the bank because he has to go get that money out to pay Gabrielle Zuniga that $20-something million settlement that they agreed upon. Okay, so much that she is probably on some yacht, okay, enjoying her life, never having to lift up her photo for another selfie, and never has to send a private message to any John, okay, saying, hi there. You know what I mean? Never does she ever have to sell or mail out her panties anymore. She is financially free. All because of this lawsuit. Now, the question is, did he really R this woman or not? Maybe he did. Maybe he did. The footage, if that footage is real, was damning enough for him to sit there and go, no, let's work out a deal now. The deal happened. They settled. And now he's out of a huge job with ESPN. Now, don't get me wrong. He still has his Club Shay Shay. He still has Nightcap. He gonna be fine. He gonna make his monies. Okay? I think she got, just so you know, Stormcat, you asked, she's getting 50 mil. No, she got like 23 million. Man, that's a lot of money. 23 million is a lot. Man, $1 million. I mean, for me, in my mind, damn, $1 million is a lot of money. Okay? So $1 million hairs. Okay? $23 million. That's what they're saying out here in these streets, which is a whole lot of money. And damn right, I would quit too. I'd be like, bah! You know what I mean? I'd go buy a yacht, find the smallest, cheapest island I can afford, okay, and live there, okay? Just eating up nothing but coconuts and fish, and just living my life. Be like, no more do I have to talk on the microphone. Just like her, she said, no more do I have to don a thong if I don't want to. No more do I have to send my used underwear to any Johns ever again. I can live free, right? Either it's the shakedown of the quinquennial, or he really did that. Settlement says a lot, guys. Settlement says a lot. Moving on, though. We have got to talk about this one thing, okay? Now, this is quick. Actually, I got two quick things I want to talk to you guys about, okay? Two quick things. Do you guys know anything about this guy by the name of Joey Swole? Like, he's a big TikToker. He's got a YouTube channel. Like, he's got a whole bunch of like stuff online, right? He he's like really buff. He's a bodybuilder. And one thing that I really do appreciate about this guy right here, this is Joey Swole, okay? Joey Swole is kind of known for his, he'll like take videos that are like going viral on TikTok or online, and he'll react to them, and it's about gym culture, because gym culture sucks, just so you know, okay? Gym culture sucks. So, ladies, y'all need to start putting clothes on, okay? I'm saying it, okay? I'm sorry. I love you. I love the female form, just like any other heterosexual male and bisexual male, okay? Any other male on this planet, okay? Red-blooded American man, okay? Love the figure. Love women. You guys are beautiful. Y'all are art. Literally art, okay? But some of y'all need to put some mother-loving clothes on, okay? When you're at the gym. When you're at home, you can wear whatever you want, okay? Do you? But when you're in the gym, sometimes that's a little bit that's a little too much. It's like, I now have seen everything, and I didn't need to see it. I didn't ask to see it. I just came in here to get a quick pump on so I can go home and live my life. I didn't need to see all that, okay? Especially, and the other part though too is when you have these viral videos that he does a lot of reactions to, where you have these girls or guys that are in the middle of like a workout, and they have their tripod up with their phone, and they're getting their pump, they're getting after it. You know what I mean? They're doing their, their supersets and their drop sets and all that stuff. You know what I mean? Working the chesticles and the quads. And then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, a guy who doesn't know that the camera's on, doesn't know that there's a tripod, was busy just going to the weight rack, which is right next to the mother-loving tripod, crosses the screen. And while the guy is in the middle of like, getting his PR on the chest, right, on the bench press, he starts flipping out. Dude, but camera's on, I'm rolling, man. Come on. We've seen it a billion times. And it's like, who cares? Move that phone. You in a public gym, right? Now, Joey Swole has been known for that. He's infamous for that. Okay? He's made he's garnered a lot of followers solely because of those types of videos, which I appreciate, because he's like, yo, you're at a public gym. It's not like you were in a gym in your home and this guy just randomly walked into your home gym and crossed your camera. No, you're at a public gym. Have some etiquette. Have some respect to the other people that are around you, and understand that you're in a public gym and people are going to cross the camera. They don't care about your tripod and your camera. You see what I'm saying? So I appreciate the reality that he sets in, right? And he brings in a lot of common sense to the conversation, especially when it comes to gym etiquette, right? But here's the thing. He kind of fell on his face kind of hard recently, because honestly, okay, that Hulk Hogan lost his life, okay? Hulk Hogan gone. Him dead, all right? He died. May he rest in peace. Of course, there's a lot of people that feel some type of way about Hulk Hogan passing. He has quite the tarnished latter half of his life that a lot of people feel some type of way about. Now, Joey Swole put this up. Okay, let me share. On his, I'm assuming, his tweet or his Twitter or, his X account, something like that. He said, RIP to a legend and one of my inspirations to start working out, Hulk Hogan. And he's dressed up as Hulk Hogan, okay? This caused quite the backlash. People were very, very upset about this. He angered so many people because he was giving a shout out to someone who, he was like, Hulk Hogan was caught on an S tape saying that he doesn't mess with a certain demographic, a certain race of people, especially N-words. That's what he basically said. And he didn't like the fact that one of his daughters was in a relationship with a black man. And he said he was willing to cut her off because she was in this relationship with a black man, right? Completely financially cut her off. Okay. And he says, he basically said the Chris Rock thing. There are black people and then there's N-words. And he said, I'm talking about those N-words, right? It was not good. Not a great thing. And like I said in many, many other videos before, I don't get it how you're in the middle of bumping uglies and you're just thinking about your disdain towards a race. Okay. It just doesn't make any sense to me. But nonetheless, he's saying these things to the girl he's bumping uglies with. It's caught on film. It looked really bad, and it caused a lot of bad things for him. Okay. Now, Joey Swole says that he had no clue about this situation. He was completely oblivious. He didn't know about Hulk Hogan saying these certain things. Okay. So he went on to a live. Oh, this is so bad. This is just a quick clip from a live that he did. And he was trying to explain to himself. He's like, listen, I didn't know about this. Like, I liked his positivity. I liked his energy towards, bringing fitness and WWE, wrestling, all that stuff. I just really appreciated the structure and the things that he, that he found as important in life. You know what I mean? Working out, God and family, that kind of thing, right? But Joey Swole then says this in the middle of his live feed, which makes the situation even worse. Take a look.
You see me supporting racism. I've literally done videos against racism. I bought a black girl a gym membership that was being discriminated against at the gym. People are attacking. This is the internet, guys. People only love you until they can find something to try and tear you down about. And that's okay. Who is posting about the fact that I said, God, I didn't mean anything bad by saying colored. I didn't mean anything bad by that. So if that was wrong, I apologize. Somebody already educated me on that. But if that's what you want to be upset with me about, I don't know what you want me to say. I didn't mean anything by it. There was nothing racist about that. Wow, I said that. Good for you.
Okay, now first off, I gotta let you know something. Okay, we live in what year? What year do we live in? We live in 2025. Yes, everybody. Somebody's like 1965. No, 2025. Ain't no way in the year of our Lord 2025, circa 2025. There's no way that anyone doesn't know that the word colored is very wrong to say about people of color. Right? Hold on. If you're watching this show and you don't know this, let me explain this to you really quick, because I love you. Okay, nothing but love here. Okay, let me explain something to you really quick. The word colored is you shouldn't be saying that. You shouldn't be saying that. Like you just don't say that. Okay? You just don't. And any person that says that, all of a sudden, your intelligence drops like, I don't even know how your IQ just drops like, I don't know how many points. Okay. The respect meter goes all the way down. Okay. There might be a little bit of respect there, but it's like it's minimal. Okay. So again, when you are sitting there going, oh yeah, I bought a membership for a black girl. Congratulations. Okay. So, it's like, I got 3 black friends. Right? And they don't exist. Those 3 black friends don't exist. Because if you had at least 1 black friend, that black friend would be telling you don't say colored. It's very wrong. Very, very bad and very wrong. And you don't say those words. You don't say that. Never. We ain't in the 50s. Okay? We ain't in the 20s. We in 2025, where a word like that is not okay and brings so many different negative connotations to it. And he didn't even need to bring that into his conversation. Here's the other thing that really drives me crazy. This is the part that drives me absolutely nuts, okay? I got to bring this up, okay, real quick. Just bringing some knowledge and bringing some facts here. He is sitting there trying to explain how he didn't know anything about Hulk Hogan's racist rants and racist moments. But then within the same breath, he calls our black and brown people colored. Do you understand? And then even afterwards, he gets self-righteous about it and tries to make it seem like no big deal. Somebody educate me on that. Someone educate you on this? What planet are you on? So again, not the greatest look. Not the greatest look. And now people are going after him for this. Okay? So, and not surprised. I'm honestly not surprised, especially someone who is out here promoting positivity, who's promoting, trying to be good to people and all that. The last thing you do is call somebody or call a group of people that word. Okay? So there's more to this. All right. I'm just giving you guys the very broad strokes of everything really quick. So then he goes on to his platforms again. And again, like I said, this is very frustrating, okay? Because, like I said, I appreciated how, he would be out here defending any person. Didn't matter if they're black, white, colored. It didn't matter. He was there. And he was like, yo, gym etiquette, be nice to people, do this, that, and the third. He completely tarnished his whole entire brand because of what he said. And you can miss me on the nonsense of he didn't know any better. We live in 2025. Miss me with the nonsense. The ignorance is killing me. So he says, and I'm going to play the video too so you guys can hear this too, but he says, all the good I've done, all the people I've helped, all for nothing. When I need help, when I need kindness and empathy, nothing, in bold letters or in caps. I truly hope all the people I've inspired to do great things in their life and pay it forward to help others and carry on my message. But no matter how much good you do, no matter how many people you help, they just wait for a reason to hate you and tear you down. This does not sound like an apology. This doesn't sound like he's learned anything. This sounds like someone who is straight up gaslighting the people that are upset that he said this, that the people that support him. If he said something that would be offensive to them, considered offensive to them, he should be taking accountability for it, even in writing. But instead, he says a line from Batman. He says this from Batman. Okay? Batman Begins or Batman, whatever, the Batman Dark Knight Rises. Okay? He says it's true. You either die a hero or live long enough to be the villain. That's from Batman Dark Knight Rises. Okay? So you either die a hero or live long enough to be the villain. Thank you for your support. Please remember me and smile. I love you all. I am done. Instead of being like, yo, I'm sorry, what I said was wrong and ignorant in writing, this is what he said. But then he does put out a video. So let's take a look at this. Okay? Let's take a look at this. Ai Chihuahua.
I owe my followers, my community, and all of social media an apology. A few days ago, I reposted an old video of me in the gym wearing a Hulk Hogan Halloween costume on the day that he passed. Last night in my live stream, a lot of people expressed how upset and frustrated they were with me that I had posted that. Instead of listening and understanding like I should have, I became defensive and said that I was posting to celebrate the wrestling icon, the person that so many of us looked up to as kids that we grew up with, that made us tear our shirts and take our vitamins and say our prayers. I didn't know to the extent of all the horrible things that he had done. Since last night, I have done a lot of research, talked to a few people, and learned all of the horrible things that that man has done, which is way more than just making a mistake and being human. So because of that, I have taken the videos down, and I apologize to anybody that I offended. I am sorry. Also, during last night's live stream, I used the word colored instead of saying person of color, which is a very outdated, very offensive term. A few moments later, somebody educated me and told me that it wasn't okay to use that, which I immediately apologized to everyone and said I would never do that again. So once again, to anybody that I offended, I am sorry. You know, my whole page, my whole brand is based on holding people accountable and doing better. I would be a hypocrite if I didn't hold myself to the same standards. I am human. I am still growing. I am still learning. And I promise all of you, I will do better. I have nothing but love and kindness in my heart. I will continue to try to make the world a better place. And once again, to everybody, I apologize.
Now, here's the thing. I think that this was a good apology. I don't like the post that he put up being like, I'm done. And, you know, you either die a hero or live long enough to become the villain. That just sounds very egotistical, very self-centered, and very jacked up and very tone deaf. But I agree. We're not perfect. We all learn. We all make mistakes, and hopefully we learn from those mistakes. But now I'm going, okay, now you go out to the hood. Go get you some black friends. Put yourself in the black community. Educate yourself. Put yourself in any community that is not white for just 2 seconds. All right? Educate your ass for a second. You react to every single type of video that has all walks of life, all types of races in it. Why not educate yourself for a second? Okay? Because what you said was really messed up. And there's a lot of people that do look up to you. And what you said could definitely polarize and split the room, because there's going to be people who are going to be rising you up because they said, yeah, damn right, brother. You said colored. Real talk. Do you want that kind of demographic holding you down? I'm telling you, probably not. Like I said, people make mistakes. Things happen. Yes, we can even be intelligent, but then also ignorant at the same damn time. That is very true. Okay. But at the same time, the post that he put that's right next to his face, right, didn't even need to happen. He could have just put up the video, this video, which is fine. It's a good video. And he could have just taken a break for a couple weeks, and he would have been just fine getting back into it. That's it. He doesn't have to sit there and overdo it and try to show that he's, super, aware of things and, God forbid I say super woke or anything like that. No, he doesn't have to do any of that stuff, right? You just move forward and try to do better and show that you've changed and understand the assignment now through your actions. But when you put out a post like that, basically saying, I'm done, it gives off a different vibe. It sends a different message. Like I said, we're not perfect. Nobody is. Everyone makes mistakes. But at some point, we all have to understand the general consensus is words like colored is not okay. It's ignorant. And when you do say something ignorant, you should just take full accountability of that and try to educate yourself on the situation so that you can be better. That's it. I don't know this guy from a can of paint, but I appreciated his videos whenever he was reacting to other things. It was very helpful. I think to the gym community, because the gym community be wilding out here. All he needs to do is show that he's changed, show that he learned from this, and move the F on. That's all he needed to do. But a comment like this, that post, makes it seem like maybe he hasn't really fully learned his lesson. And that's really tragic. But we'll see what happens, y'all. We'll see what happens. Some crazy stuff is out here, guys, and people are still out here saying colored. Ain't that crazy? That people still saying that word. People are really still saying that word, baby. That's crazy. Anyway, guys, that is the show. I appreciate all y'all for being here. It really means a lot. Thank you so much for tuning in. Oh, and Lauren, thank you so much for becoming a member. Welcome to the family, Lauren. Appreciate you. Appreciate you. Thank you so much. Again, before we head out, okay, hit that like button down below. Crush it, do what it do. Hit that reaction button if you're watching on other platforms. If you are watching on those other platforms, oh, I forgot. Let me end that poll. Sorry about that, guys. Trying to jump off here real quick. Let's see. Out of 660 votes, we have, I'm going to round up a little bit, 90% of you guys say, no, don't pardon Diddy. That is crazy. And that's exactly what I expected, to be really honest. But hit that like button down below, please, and thank you. Crush it, okay? Hit that reaction button. If you are watching on other platforms like Facebook, X/, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, Rumble, Twitch, Kick, make sure you hit that follow button. Follow. Don't forget to subscribe here on my main channel. Go to my second channel, The Pascal Show Clips. Subscribe over there. Go to my other channel, Pascal Raw. Make sure you're subscribed over there as well. Okay, hit that notification on all platforms so you know when I go live, whenever I upload, because it's random right now. Okay, hit that join button down below, become a member, and check out pascalmerch.com. All right, I appreciate you guys. Y'all have a blessed rest of your evening. And if anything's popping off like a tsunami, we might be on a little bit later on tonight. We'll see. Okay, but hopefully you guys are all well, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Be good to yourselves. Be good to one another. This is The Pascal Show. Bye.